Right now at noon, a Pittsburgh murder investigation is underway as authorities hunt for a second suspect.
And it's a very spring-like day outside. We've got sunshine, we've got warm weather, but we've got some changes on the way. We'll talk about your forecast coming up.
A Catholic bishop is shot to death in his Southern California home.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The KBI needs your help locating a suspect in a weekend murder investigation in Crawford County. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, one of 2 suspects are in custody as the Kansas Bureau of Investigation continues to look into the death of a Southeast Kansas man. It happened Friday afternoon. Pittsburgh PD says they received a call reporting someone was shot. And when officers responded to 1023 North Main, they found 51-year-old David Mays from Weir, Kansas, lying in the road. Authorities say they believe the fatal gunshot was a result of an altercation between potential suspects. Police arrested 43-year-old Colin Gebford and requested charges for suspicion of attempted premeditated first-degree murder and felony murder. According to the arrest report, Gebford made the original 911 call. Officers are looking for a second suspect, 32-year-old Travis Conness of Neosho, Missouri. Police say he is still at large, and if you have any information on his whereabouts, contact the Pittsburgh PD. We're starting off the work week on a warmer note. Chris Warner joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Yeah, it is definitely warmer today, and it will be warmer for the next 2 or 3 days before we start to see a few changes blow in later this week. Right now, though, 7th and Rangeline, the good news is we're not seeing quite the amount of cloud cover that we anticipated this morning, so we're getting a little more sunshine out there, and that's allowing us to be a little bit warmer right now. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline, same thing. Plentiful sunshine out there with some clouds in the sky. Yesterday, we made it to 62 after starting at 37. 52 is the average high, 30 the average low. We are well above that. We are not going to be close to records today, but still, it's very warm across the area. Take a look at these temperatures. 62 Iola, 55 Fort Scott, 62 Pittsburgh, 65 in Parsons, 60 Miami, and 63 Neosho in Carthage. So here is a look at what we're keeping an eye on. We will still see the clouds begin to increase later tonight across the area. And then we're going to start to see those winds really pick up as we head into Tuesday. And then we're watching those thunderstorm chances as we head into late Tuesday, early Wednesday morning, say between about 4 or 6 o'clock in the morning, we'll start to see those roll in the area. So perfect opportunity to remember to scan that QR code or go to your favorite app store and get that KOAM Skywatch weather app. That way you can keep the forecast handy wherever you go. We'll take a look at the wind speeds we're looking at and those rain chances here in just a few minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. On this President's Day, the long and distinguished life of former President Jimmy Carter is approaching an end. In a statement Saturday, the Carter Center revealed the 98-year-old has, quote, decided to spend his remaining time at home with his family and receive hospice care. The decision follows a series of hospital stays. Well-wishers are visiting the Carter Center in Atlanta and his hometown of Plains to pray for both him and his family. Police in Southern California are looking for the killer of a Roman Catholic bishop who was known for his work preventing gang violence. The LA County Sheriff says Bishop David O'Connell, an assistant to the Archbishop of Los Angeles, was found dead in his home on Saturday. Carter Evans has more on the loss of a longtime figure in the community.
The Catholic community in Los Angeles is in mourning.
He's just been in our lives all these years.
He was so lovable, so humble.
The LA County Sheriff's Department responded to a medical emergency at Auxiliary Bishop David O'Connell's home in suburban Hacienda Heights around 1 p.m. Saturday. They discovered the 69-year-old with a gunshot wound to the chest. He was pronounced dead at the scene.
It's very early in the investigation, and we've got a lot more steps that we have to take to make more determination of what's happening.
The death is now being investigated as a homicide, and investigators have not found the gun used in the shooting.
It shocked me to the core, unfortunately.
Bishop O'Connell was born in Ireland in 1953, but he served as a priest and bishop in LA County for 45 years. On Sunday, the Archbishop of Los Angeles paid tribute.
He was a peacemaker with a heart for the poor and the immigrants.
Bishop O'Connell was named an auxiliary bishop for the Archdiocese of LA by Pope Francis in 2015. He served as the chairman of the Southern California Immigration Task Force.
He had a passion for building a community where the sanctity and the dignity of every human life was honored and protected.
As investigators try to determine what happened, the community is coming together to remember a man described as a champion of the poor.
Now we're here to pray for him because he's a wonderful soul.
Carter Evans, CBS News.
President Biden made an unannounced trip to Kyiv, Ukraine early this morning on his way to visit Poland. It's his first trip to the war-torn country since the Russian invasion. The president met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, during which he renewed his pledge of U.S. support. Stephen Portnoy reports from Poland.
Remind us that freedom is priceless. It's worth fighting for.
With Russia's war in Ukraine raging on, President Biden made a surprise trip to Kyiv, where he met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
Russia's aim was to wipe Ukraine off the map. Putin's war of conquest is failing.
The president spent about 6 hours in Ukraine's capital, where he marked the end of the first year of the conflict.
1 year later, Kyiv stands, and Ukraine stands. Democracy stands.
U.S. officials say Russia was notified of the trip some hours before the president arrived, but the movements of the American president were kept secret.
After leaving Ukraine, President Biden headed here to Poland to discuss military and humanitarian aid for Ukraine with a broader group of Eastern European leaders.
Speaking in Kyiv, the president announced an additional military aid package for Ukraine of around $500 million.
That announcement includes artillery ammunition for HIMARS and howitzers, more javelins, anti-armor systems, air surveillance radars to help protect Ukrainian people.
Over the weekend, Vice President Harris told a security conference in Germany that Russia has committed crimes against humanity in Ukraine.
To all those who have perpetrated these crimes, you will be held to account.
The declaration could ultimately lead to war crimes charges against Russian officials. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, Warsaw, Poland.
Ukraine is planning a spring counteroffensive against Russia and is asking the West for more, heavier and longer range weapons. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, getting from point A to point B is going old school with the resurgence of paper maps. And later, we're making presidential peanut muffins in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. A hard copy guide is making a comeback in this digital world. Paper maps. Sales of paper maps were up last year, with more people traveling and experiencing the world in a new, old-fashioned way. CBS's Jennifer Bisram has this unfolding story.
For retired Detective Miller Edwards, X marks the spot on a good old paper map.
Daytona Beach. That's where I want to go.
The 79-year-old uses GPS navigation in his travels too, but paper, he says, offers perspective.
They give me a general idea of a larger area that I need to go to see. They have different cities and different points of view.
A sales boost is putting paper back on the map. Market research from the NPD Group shows sales of maps and atlases reached 1.8 million units last year, up 20% over 2021. AAA says it produced 123% more maps in that time frame.
We are seeing obviously an uptick in travel across the board. So as we're sort of coming out of the COVID pandemic, people are really traveling more.
The Road Club has been in the map-making business for more than 100 years and made 5 million paper maps in 2022 to accompany its popular TripTik route planners.
There's all this additional information, points of interest, locations where you can stop for electric vehicle charging perhaps, or AAA Diamond hotels, restaurants, things like that.
Truckers like Sean Gresham use a paper atlas to help solve practical problems out on the road.
This is going to show me every place that's low clearance.
Another upside to paper maps, they don't rely on cell signal, a particular advantage if you're traveling off the beaten path. And once you know how to read a map,
I'm folding it back up.
There's only one other skill you need. Jennifer Bisram, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
It's President's Day and we're celebrating with a few presidential favorites. Any guesses as to what we're making?
We've got an absolutely gorgeous day for us today, but we're keeping an eye on some gusty winds and rain moving in. We'll break it all down when we come back. Well, the weather's been absolutely beautiful today. We've had calm winds, had a little more sunshine than we were expecting, which is always a good thing. And it is very spring-like out there, which, you know, for it to be in February and to feel spring-like, something must be up, right? Well, you are correct. If your four-state instincts are tingling about the weather changing, that's going to happen. Now, right now, though, you can see we still got the passing clouds. We've got intermittent blue skies in between, so we're getting more sunshine today than what we thought we would, which is, I don't know of anybody that's complaining about this. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, blue skies all around, and of course you can see some of those clouds out there. So back to 7th and Range Line, let's take a look at where we're sitting right now. We're already up to 63 in Joplin with that calm wind. Dry air out there, dew point's 34, humidity's 34%. It's a pretty decent day. I mean, it's almost like a middle of March day. Look at these temperatures. 55 in Fort Scott, 62 Iola Chanute, 65 in Parsons as the warm spot, 63 Neosho Carthage, and 62 in Lamar. So what can we expect for the rest of today? Well, much of what we're seeing now. We'll still have a few passing clouds from time to time, be partly cloudy by the time we hit 6 o'clock. Looking at highs pushing about 65, and some of us, Parsons, for example, may go just a pinch warmer than that. And then as we head into this evening, the clouds are still expected to increase tonight. We'll start to be mostly cloudy through the evening, down to 48 by midnight with a low of 40 degrees tonight. And then as we head into tomorrow morning, we start to feel the winds of change. We'll start to see gusts picking up early tomorrow morning in that 20 to 25 mile an hour range. Nothing too crazy. I mean, that's gusty, yes. But then as we get into the afternoon hours and the rest of the morning, that wind picks up out of the south-southeast. Now we've got gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour. And as we head into Tuesday night, we start to see those wind gusts 30, 40, possibly upwards of 50 miles an hour. I think anything in that 50 mile an hour range will be fairly limited and brief, but we're still talking gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour out there, and it will stay breezy through the rest of Tuesday night. This is Wednesday morning, and Wednesday morning we have other changes coming. On top of these very gusty winds still pushing upwards of 40 miles an hour. We go into Wednesday afternoon, still 30, 35 mile an hour wind gusts. We go into early Thursday morning. This is insane, by the way, overnight Thursday, how windy it's going to get. But keep in mind, up to this point at 1 a.m., these winds are still out of the south. Even though they're gusting 40, 50 miles an hour, they're out of the south. Then as we go through the day Thursday into the late morning, early afternoon, the winds calm down, but then they also start to shift out of the northwest, and we have some changes in our temperatures coming. All right, we go through the rest of today. We'll see those passing clouds, increasing clouds later. We'll start to be mostly cloudy as we head into our Tuesday, but we're still going to be mild. Early Wednesday morning, say 4 or 5 o'clock, so we're watching the possibility of some showers and thunderstorms across the area, and we are looking at the possibility of some strong, maybe low-grade severe storms as we head into Wednesday morning. These storms will start to roll on through the area, and this still has them holding on by about 2:30 or so, but they're going to kick out of here quick, and our temperatures aren't going to plummet behind the rain. We'll actually still be mild heading through Wednesday evening. So we're up to 63 tomorrow, making it 68 Wednesday. Late Wednesday, very early Thursday morning, when we start to see that shift, we're going to drop down to 34, turning around, making it to about 48 Thursday, down to 21 as our coldest night. And then take a look as we head into this upcoming weekend. We get what, two cool days, 3 cold nights, and then we are back to spring-like weather. Yeah, we've got rain chances again Saturday evening into Sunday, but we also have the temperatures getting back up there to near 60 degrees by this Sunday. So a little bit of a bouncy ride, and we'll keep an eye on those storms Wednesday morning. We'll have the latest, of course, tonight and tomorrow, and just keep a close eye on those just in case things do change. But otherwise, very spring-like and only a couple of cool days out there.
Oh, no kidding. Can't complain about that, for sure.
No, not at all.
I like the temperatures. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, stick around. We're making presidential peanut muffins. Well, today we're making peanut butter muffins that are worth the presidential seal of approval. Howard shares his recipe for presidential peanut muffins in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Schools are closed today, government offices are shut down, and if you were thinking of going to the bank, think again. It's President's Day, which means today we're celebrating U.S. presidents, both past and present. Since you might have a little extra time on your hands, what do you say we whip up a presidential favorite? Before we do, did you know that one of President John F. Kennedy's favorite foods was a steaming bowl of clam chowder? And who would have ever guessed that FDR loved an ooey-gooey grilled cheese sandwich? Today, we're baking a Southern-style muffin that we think our 39th President Jimmy Carter would love. After making a super moist peanut butter batter, we spoon it into muffin cups. Then, to take them over the top, we finish them with a nutty streusel topping, and into the oven they go. Let me tell you, these muffins are worth a presidential seal of approval. They're that good. On top, you have an addictively good buttery crumb topping, and on the inside, the muffins are crazy moist. To get the recipe for our presidential peanut muffins, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a perfectly presidential way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right. I think President Carter would love those. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.